I love old drug houses. Yes, I know that sounds a very strange statement to make, but over the years I have made a ton of money fixing up these unsightly structures. Now, not all of these houses were former drug dens, but many of them were. Either way, their previous residents were not exactly known for their high degree of home tidiness, and they were most definitely not graduates of Martha Stewart Living. Or, said another way, most of them kind of tended to skip on the weekly house cleaning chores. When I walk into one of these houses, the more stains, the more holes, the more cat pee stains I find, the more money I know I'm going to make. Think of it this way. These are homes that, while they're structurally sound, they are just utterly disgusting, and it's going to take a lot of TLC before a family is going to want to live in this house. In today's video, I will show you a house I'm currently looking at buying. We will walk through the property, discuss the many issues of this property, and how I would propose to fix them. Finally, we'll do some simple math, but don't worry, simple is the key. Nothing complicated here. And we will determine if this is a good investment or not. All of this and more in today's video. Hello and welcome to The Stephen Carlson Show. I'm Stephen Carlson. I'm a tech entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, YouTuber, and volunteer paramedic. Now, I'm sure this will come as to no surprise to any of you, but the rental market pretty much sucks right now, nationwide because of, the pandemic that's going on and the moratorium on evictions. Many investors are struggling to make their monthly mortgage payments and are at serious risk of losing everything. So why in the heck would I propose picking up more properties for myself? Well, the current economic situation is extremely complicated, and I really cannot give it justice here in a simple, say, 30-second overview. Still, in summary, I am very confident that as businesses start to reopen, and after Congress finally gets their head out of their rear end and fixes the stimulus and unemployment programs, tenants will be able to start paying their rent again. Most of these are very good people, and they will pay their bills when they have their income, back to the pre-pandemic levels. So with this in mind, I know that if I plan and budget my deals out appropriately, I can weather this storm. And at the end, when everything's back to normal, I'm going to be sitting pretty with a very nice portfolio of properties. And if you follow along with me and take some of these core concepts to heart, you can do the same thing as well. Now is the time to pick up some of these properties, as Baron Rothschild, an 18th century British nobleman and member of the Rothschild banking family, is credited with saying, "The time to buy is when there's blood in the streets." Or, said another way, when people are desperate to sell, that is when you want to go out and buy, because you're going to get the most favorable pricing. Okay, I've rambled on enough, so why don't we take a look at this house? But first, remember, I got those lawyers down in the basement. They're all chained up, and they get a little rowdy whenever I start making a video. The only way to quiet them down is to give a quick disclaimer. I'm not a licensed, anything. I have no certifications or licenses or anything that has to do with this video. I'm just some random dude on the internet. So, said another way, enjoy my video, but don't sue me if you make a stupid investment decision on your own. Okay, let's take a look at this house. It is a small 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and a little bit of a rural community. I took a 360 of this entire property, so we'll be able to kind of walk through it. Starting here with just looking at the floor plan. You can see the front entry is right here. And this is the front living room. One of the bedrooms, hallway, bedroom, bathroom, and bathroom. But let's go ahead and zoom in and see a little bit more clearly. First off, as you can see, the carpets have already been removed from this house, and you can see an awful lot of stains all over the floor. A newbie investor has purchased this property in the past, and he started to fix it up, and I think he very quickly got in and over his head. Now, usually I prefer not to take over a house that's in the middle of a project because depending on the quality of his work from the previous investor, I typically end up having to completely redo everything that was their fixes. But in this case, I don't think he really made it very far into the process. You're going to see that there's a lot of stains everywhere, and most of this is, urine. It's cat pee, it's human urine, and some of it is mold from the accumulation of many years of this. Now, because the mold appears to be basically isolated in the same areas where there's stains, I'm not overly concerned. As disgusting as it looks, it's really not that bad. In most cases, you can use Kills to seal this in. Now, I've learned the hard way to put kills on every single stain. Many years ago, one of the houses that I rehabbed had cat urine that soaked through all the way through the concrete slab. My crew cleaned it up and we thought it was all gone. About 3 months later, after my new tenant had moved in, she started to complain of a stain that was kind of seeping through the bottom of the carpet. This stain had come all the way through the concrete, through the padding, and through the carpet. After that time, we learned to always use kills on every single stain to prevent them from ever seeping back. Now, most of the subflooring in this house is actually okay. It's just stained. So using the kills will fix most of that. But there are a few spots that have a little bit too much liquid that have been seeping through that have caused the subflooring to fall apart. And this is very common around the toilets, which it's kind of hard to see here, but this area here, when I was stepping on it, it was starting to cave in. Now, that's not really that big of a deal. It's just usually the toilet was leaking. In total, I think that we're going to need about 4, maybe 5 sheets of 4x8 OSB. The cost of each one of those is about $15 per sheet. My crew can cut them to the exact size needed, and of course we're going to replace the wax seal around the toilet so that this can be prevented from happening again in the future. Stepping back out to the rest of the house here, we're going to take a little bit of a tour. You can see right through here where the previous investor had already patched some holes in the wall. And you can see an awful lot of staining down here on the floor. Now, some of this is just kind of the shadow because it was dark in the house when I took the photos. But you can see down here all this staining. These are boards that I would just completely replace. Then go over here to the master bedroom. And if we look up, you're going to see something a little interesting. Now, this room has some severe water leak issues. Now, after some additional inspecting, which you really can't see in the photos here, I discovered there was a hole in the roof. Now, luckily, there was no other mold issues coming through this leak, and the crew will just need to rip off the current roof and replace the plywood and put new shingles down. The cost for just materials alone is going to be about $5,000 since this is a smaller house, and it will take about 3 days of my crew to do this. Once the roofing has been repaired, new drywall will be placed up in the ceiling area, and we will put kills all over all the walls and put fresh paint everywhere. For the flooring, you basically have 2 main options. You have carpet or luxury vinyl planks, LVP. The cost per square foot for the materials is actually pretty comparable to each other. It's the cost of installation of the LVP that is about 2 to 3 times the amount of labor hours. However, the LVP lasts so much longer and has the appearance of a more highly economic value, more expensive property when you're showing it to possible tenants or to possible buyers. In most cases, and what I would do for this property is I would install LVP here in the front entryway, the living room, down the hallway, and throughout the kitchen. Now, in the bathroom, there's already floor tile, so I'm just going to leave it as is, and then for all the bedrooms, I'm going to put carpet in. Repair cost so far is about $15,000 to get this place livable. Now, we're not turning this into a 5-star resort by any means, but it's still going to be very clean and a place that I would feel comfortable being in. Now, one issue that I did not mention to you, and sorry I don't really have any photos of it, but the grass in the front yard is soaking wet and swampy. So whenever it rains, basically all the water rushes down this hill. This is the street out here. I'm not sure if you can see the cursor very well, but the street is right out here. This is the driveway where I'm parked, and I am standing right by the front door looking back out to the street. And the water rushes down this hill of the property and directly into the crawl space. Now, when I inspected this, there was over 6 inches of standing water under the floor, was completely soaking wet. To repair this and prevent flooding in the future is going to involve using a backhoe. Luckily, we have one already. And we will need to dig a sloping trench along the front of the house, along the side, and into the backyard. Then we kind of have a few different options. We can either fill this with riprap, or we can install a proper French drain. Now, both options kind of have their pluses and minuses, and it's not something I should really cover in this video. Maybe I can do a future video just dedicated to this. Now, in our area, rocks are very cheap, and I can get an entire dump truck loaded delivered to me for about $500. Can you, you're in the middle of the video. I'm trying to work right now. Yeah, you're kind of interrupting. Can you lay down a little, buddy? All right, go ahead and put your tail down. Sit down. All right, go on. Yes, I know you want attention. Go lay down. Good dog. Good Clyde. Okay, sorry for that interruption. That was Clyde, one of my 2 Siberian Huskies, Bonnie and Clyde. Anyways, kind of forgot where I was at, but like I said, in our area we can get rocks very cheap, and usually a dump truck load is about $500. Once we have stopped the water from entering the property, some work will need to be done to drain the current water and all the mud that is down in the crawl space. This is going to be very labor intensive, and before purchasing the house, I would want to do a full inspection to further verify that there's no mold growing underneath the house, because obviously that would make this a complete nightmare to deal with. Okay, so how do these numbers pencil out, and is this a good deal? Now, before I get to that, please take a minute to support this channel by checking out Webull at the link in the description below, and you will get 2 free stocks, with one of those stocks being valued up to $1,400 when you deposit $100 into their stock platform. Please make sure you use the link in the description. Doing so helps us support this channel. Thanks. Okay, now, first I start off with a paper napkin calculation to kind of see the rough numbers and to see how things are adding up. I do this before wasting my time doing any detailed calculations, because if I'm going to lose money with these rough numbers, then there is no need to waste hours calculating everything to the penny. Now, the rough cost to repair this place is going to be about $20,000, and the seller wants $70,000, bringing the after repair cost of the property to about $90,000. The problem with this is the neighborhood comps out at the high end for this property size is about $110,000. So if you wanted to flip this place at retail for $110,000, once you subtract your closing costs, real estate fees, etc., you're going to net about $100,000. You subtract your $90,000 you have into it, and did you really want to do all of this work just for $10,000? No, not at all. Plus, this is only an estimated budget with fixed costs of $25,000. And you know, something always comes up. Now, you could rent this property out instead. And in this area, you'd get about $850 per month. And that comes out to $10,200 in annual rents. You'll need to subtract 7% for a property manager. That's what I pay. You might pay a little more, you might pay a little less in your area. And $900 for property taxes. That leaves me with $8,586 in rental income per year. Or said another way, that's $715 per month after these basic expenses, presuming that your tenants are going to pay for utilities. So would this make the deal work? Well, technically yes. And even if you borrowed $60,000 for the bank, and that would be a 70% LTV of your $90,000 purchase and rehab cost, you would have about $250, $260 left over in your monthly cash flow. Yes, these numbers would pencil out as a rental. But personally, there's another issue that concerns me, and we are basically ignoring the elephant in the room. And that's the way the economy is right now. I have a strong belief that real estate prices, especially rental properties, will drop in value over the next 6 to 12 months due to the pandemic. Plus, we haven't even budgeted in anything for the potential mold in the crawl space. With these additional costs in mind, for me, I just don't think these numbers add up. Now, I did float an all-cash offer to the seller of $35,000, which he turned down, as he said he had another offer on the table. I presume the other offer is full price, but I can't be sure. Either way, I will keep my eye out for this property because my guess is it's going to be another newbie investor without any experience trying to purchase this property. And in my opinion, the only way this is a good deal is if you can buy it and repair it for less than $75,000 total, leaving you about $30,000 in instant equity. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope that it helps you kind of see what my thought process is when I look at properties. If you have any questions, why don't you leave comments down below. Please make sure you share this video with your friends. Doing so really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.